All right, we are live, and Eric didn't mean to throw you under the bus there, but I just went live, and
Well, thanks.
I know, right? We wanted to talk about this first, get our bullet points down, and prepare, and have a seventh inning stretch. Figure out when that is. But there's Guy.
Sorry, it took a second.
It's all right. I had to.
Well, he was late.
I was late getting home. I had to scrub my body, my glorious naked body, and
Ew.
what happened? I know.
Now, give me a minute here because I tend to like to get in here first. That way I can get everything set up correctly.
Go ahead.
Before I go live. Jerk.
Yeah, I know.
Jerky McJerk face.
I know, I'm a jerk.
Let's see.
I'm a total jerk. So how is Blaine doing tonight?
Oh, pretty good. Just tired, but good.
That's good.
Tired is a normal thing. The other night, me and Garrett just streamed, and I was kind of tired, but persevered, and I made it through. It was kind of like one of those bad porns where like it's not quite fully erect, but it was all right.
Yeah.
It was better than like cold pizza. Hey, Stream Elements, how you doing? Yay, my bot's running.
Yay.
Not that anybody out there has to.
Why does that look like shit?
But if you want to give,
That's not what I want.
there is a link right there, I believe. And the Stream Moment Spot's not doing everything it should be. My bad. Please forgive me.
It's okay. I'm just happy the RPG that I'll never have anyone to play with it finally arrived. I'm so happy.
There it is.
Give me a moment, guys. I'm working on my.
Because I just came in today, and I know I'll never find anyone to play it because I still have it.
Wait. Hold that up. Hey, Hungry Ewok, how you doing?
The brand new version that just got released.
Role-playing in World War III that never was. Man, that brings back some memories from 1992, 1997.
Yeah. So that way I have a new version of the other game I never get to play anymore, ever. So,
yay!
But yeah, Kickstarter came out and it comes with like so many maps, all the maps you'll ever need, plus more maps.
There, I don't look as fuzzy now.
Counters, because chits. The only way to play any kind of role playing
game. Any type of board game is with chits. And he's
right. Who needs miniatures?
Give a chit.
Miniatures are for people who actually have money. Cardboard. That's how you play games.
How dare you accuse me of having currency? I think I have less money in my bank account than what I have digits.
That's because you have so many miniatures. That's why.
That is exactly why. So, you are streaming.
Come on, Twitch. Come on, Twitch.
Is Twitch not giving it to you?
I'm waiting for it to go in.
All right.
At least I think. Could be lying to me too.
Two chest shots, legs, arms. Okay.
That.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to share a meme real quick. We're going to do a meme review.
Oh,
I know you guys.
Well, here we go. I'm good now. So
do tell. I want to see.
Okay. Well.
Oh!
You clear the dungeon and loot an obscene amount of gold. You find out the gold you have is a mimic piranha swarm. But your party did not keep the gold. The paladin insisted donating it all to an orphanage. Shit!
Well, that's the paladin's fault. That was his good deed.
I got one to send you. The buddy of mine put out
Go
last
ahead and
night.
use the share button down below as soon as I see
No.
it in here.
Because I don't need people seeing my shit. I have special things on my stuff.
Ooh.
Oh, actually, where the hell did he put it?
Where did they put it?
Damn it. Oh, never mind.
There was a series of mouse figurines from Reaper Miniatures. Hungry Ewok, you just triggered a memory of mine. Let's go to the Reaper Miniature website.
No.
Here's where I spend all my money.
Yeah,
I could have had
Reaper.
a couple of houses by now.
Like 7.
All right. Here's Reaper Miniatures. Pirate Mouselings from 2021. Those are some cute little minis.
All right, everybody, we are live. So
Why are we all broke? This is why we're all broke.
Well, there's 2 reasons. You forget about the shiny click clack math rocks.
Which I got brand new ones. They're all nice and
And then this is the other one. Typically.
Eastern Mouselings, for those of you in Karatur or some other exotic location. Wizard Mouselings, because you never know when you need another wizard. Wizard.
Oh, okay.
but now it's adorable. So
Viking Mouselings, when you just want meat and cheese. Which actually sounds really good right now.
that does sound good.
The one with the beard almost looks like a dwarf mouse.
That one there?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
all the beard and everything. It's like and the axe. Yeah, that's not a Viking. That's actually a dwarf.
You're gonna buy that one for your wife, aren't you?
No,
Should.
no.
Barbarian
Because then I'll have to paint it.
Just send me your unpainted figures. I'll get to it someday. That'd be funny if God kept me alive long enough to paint all my figurines, and he'd be like, "All right, car crash."
Okay, I need that one. That's the only one I need.
Yeah, that's a Space Marine one. Yeah.
And I will paint it up
But-
in ultramarine colors and give it to one of my friends and go, here,
Oh,
this will
no.
lead your
Burn the heretic.
No, you've got to do it correctly because it'll be funny.
by the
Hello
Codex.
Kitty. No, Hello Kitty.
Ah, no. Hello Kitty would be
Like-
nice, but
You get
no.
like 13 of the other ones, and then
Hey,
get
Bruce.
2 of these.
Take Ewok's thing off the screen because you're covering up half the stuff you're trying to show anyway.
What? What do you mean?
Oh, it's fine. And we're all doing good.
Wait. Oh, you're talking about Ewok. My bad.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Sorry.
We're
Keely
enjoying.
Joe. Hey, how you doing, Keely? Jeremy Cropper, thank you. Cropper is such a nice man. I've thrown him a couple 20s over the last year, but I need to throw him more 20s.
When are you going to start throwing me 20s?
Oh, I don't watch Twitch. I'm sorry.
When we get
I
money.
still have a donate button.
That's true. Look at
No
that.
requirement
Mouse.
of
Do you have Stream Elements, Garrett?
I do.
Okay. You want to post it in chat? I'd be more than happy to put it in my Discord, and I'll do that. I
I'm
can take them
joking.
off. Okay.
I'm joking. So do I.
You could have an entire Mouseling army.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You'd have to buy 2 of each because then you paint one up as Chaos. Then you can have Space Marines versus Chaos Marines.
And there's something. Oh no!
Oh, good. Whirlwind.
Woo!
Flamers, awesome!
They look hot.
So you can just cheat and paint them up as Alpha Legion, and you're already on both sides of the wall.
All right, we're back to these. It must have ran out. Okay, so anyway, that's where my money's going. Oh. All right, stop sharing. Don't show my credit card information. How dare you? Okay, So,
Low resolution.
yeah, I know, right? I'm saved. So, the two of you, we had this idea about a week ago. We were going to talk about how to convert a module or how to convert something purchased and how to make it proper for your own home table.
Yeah.
I am going to pull myself off here if I can.
Mhm.
And I'm going to ask you guys, what would you guys do? Because I have to go grab my food before it burns up the oven. Actually, I'll just leave that on.
Okay,
Okay.
you're fine.
So, what would you guys do in order to make something right for your table?
I've actually done it.
Okay.
More than once.
When I was running, and I've said this before, when I was running Pathfinder 2.0, after the first fight in the module,
Yes.
it was horrible. I did not agree with the way they had it set up. It was really just horrible. So I took them into the nice little keep that they were supposed to get into. They were supposed to have like major fights in there. I think they had a skirmish. That was about it. And then they came up, and then I looked at whoever was closest to where they were standing. I looked at him and I go, heads or tails? And I flipped a coin. It wound up tails. Tails was a blue stone. He touched said blue stone. The entire party was transferred to the Fae, to Fairy.
What was the published module name?
Oh, it was the first one that they put out. It was the Ashes. It was just horrible.
I don't know.
But I transferred them to the Feylands, and they happened to come across the Puck. Then they wound up in because the Tails was a blue gem, therefore they wound up in Winter Domain. So they got to meet Nab. And then they also got to meet her knight, who was carrying a hockey stick and was wearing a duster.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I went full on with Dresden in it and everything.
And
it was funny because our sorcerer and Dresden got to talking.
Oh, this is going
because
to end well.
he could. Well, no, it worked out fine because he cast light and there's no somatic components. He goes, "How did you do that without saying giving the power word for that?" He goes, "Oh, well, this doesn't have any somatic components." And he went, and they just started. And it was really funny because they were sitting there talking, and yeah, it was. Think about Dresden, not having to say anything and be able to cast the spells.
That would be interesting.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it put a whole new twist on the entire game. It wound up dropping not long after, but I mean, overall, it was still good. So it was still a fun campaign. We still had fun with it.
Dresden could be good. Dresden could spice a campaign up. I'll say that.
Oh yeah.
Blaine.
Yeah.
With your tables, and your tables are usually packed all the time. Whenever I hear that you're running, there's like 6 people there, and there's more people wanting to play.
True.
What's going on with that? What do you do at your tables to make your players, your player base, feel like this is unique?
By giving them an experience.
Cookies.
Well, that, but also by offering just a kind of game that they usually don't get anywhere else. I mean, most of the time when you see a lot of tables are always like, I'm running this module, I'm running this dungeon, I'm running this adventure path, and it's always this very set on rails experience. Meanwhile, I'll buy these books thinking, oh, obviously if all of these people are playing, fill in the blank, Paizo WotC officially sanctioned book. They're like, this has got to be fantastic. And then I read it and go, this is trash. This is utter trash. I mean, what horrifying plot contrivance do I have to create to get my players to actually be at the specific location at the specific time for these specific events to happen, and then force my players, usually through having to tie them to chairs, to listen to the often piss poor writing and exposition that's happening that makes them able to go on the adventure. Which, since most adventure paths are pretty much, might as well translate into, I see you are at this location. This is the dialogue. Go to what is specifically yelling at you. So as somebody who looks at these books and goes, well, fuck, I just spent $45. What the hell am I going to do with this thing? And then I'm like, tear it apart. And yeah, they might. It's like the last big one I tried to run was Kingmaker, and I literally got through like half the first book before the players derailed the entire thing, ran off in a new direction, and I'm like, well,
Fuck.
all right, let's go with this. And at that point, you're just tearing the whole book apart, throwing it like confetti into the air, and going, whatever part lands in front of the party, that's what I'm using.
When we ran Kingmaker, I kind of put the hex paper down and said, we're gonna start like right here.
Yep.
And
like, as soon as they got to the whole that whole initial adventure path where they got to the fortress, fought the bandit lord, and established their first town, they just went off in like their own directions, and I kept trying to throw the plot for the adventure path at them, and the party like must have been like going, nope, full defense, nope, your plot, I ignore it, I'm going off and establishing my own story, and here's me, plot, perfect defense, no, I take no damage from your plot. And then they keep on doing this, and it's just simply, and here's me, but the adventure path has to continue somehow. And they're like, no, we actually are having more fun, going east rather than west. And here's me, but you're supposed to go west. That's where all the story happens. No, we're going this way. And we're going this way. And we're going this way. And that's how the whole thing went. And so I had to just tear that apart. I've got other adventure modules and adventure campaigns where I'm like, I would start them and the party would just run off in their own direction. And sure, I could get a lasso and like force them through hell and high water, damnation, and just yank them. But it's more fun to ride the rapids and go see where they're going to go, because obviously, from what I've learned, players can actually write a better story than what most game masters can write.
Yeah.
And
game masters or companies.
So sorry,
Yeah.
over glorified, taken way too seriously adventure path modules writers who think they're such the world's best storytellers, writers, and GMs going, this is the module. I have built this 300-room dungeon under a mountain, and you shall walk through all 400 rooms of your 10 by 10 foot square room guarded by a gelatinous cube and 3 goblins. Good luck. This is, and you have
a goblin and a gelatinous cube would figure out how to communicate, and they would have a coexistence.
Yes, but don't worry. This is room 1 of 399 more just like it. But don't worry. There's some traps thrown in there, and some hallways, and some treasure in there. And eventually, at the very bottom, you'll go fight the dungeon boss, and then you'll feel all special for yourself. And that's like an adventure for some people. And for some people, that's good enough for them. And for some groups, that's good enough. And I've tried doing that. And every time I try to run one of those, I might as well just light the book on fire and throw it.
I was blessed when I ran Kingmaker. I got the party both times. I got the party out of the first book. The second time I ran it, they got into the 4th book before they discovered a TPK.
Yeah,
they engineered it. The Heathen Dog had a wonderful counter argument. Heathen Dog, I'm blaming you for this conversation, but he said, if you run a sandbox, you suck. And your game sucks. And I'm like, I disagree.
Hey,
The sandbox is fun to me. Like, let the players kind of have an idea of where they want to go. You don't have to run everything by plot A, plot B, plot C. This is point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't have to do that.
and
Just have an idea what you want to run.
And the thing is that honestly, he's got a point, but on some things. If the other players have complete control, yeah, it does suck. But the thing is that I'm the one captaining the ship. They're the ones who are blowing the wind.
Yeah.
So if the wind says go east, well, fuck it. You go east or you tack, and you just kind of go where you want to go. But you're fucking around with they're blowing. You're the one riding the storm, and you just go with it. So
that's not what I thought you were going to say.
Well, players said, no matter what, the players really are the people who are there to enjoy the game. And if you constantly beat them and say, no, we're doing this, no, you're getting out the path, no, this is what happened, and if all they ever encounter is negative reinforcement, just walls thrown up to keep them on the adventure path, you're not doing a good job as a GM. You're not making their enjoyment of the game fun. Now, sometimes the universe lines up perfectly and there's stars align, and holy crap, the party grabs onto the plot point and you could actually run the adventure that's been written. Oh, that's fantastic. In fact, that's like great. But players are fickle and they will run in a weird direction. So at that point, you're like, well, I've already established stuff in this book, so I'm going to pull from this book and this book, and well, you know what? You're a little ahead of schedule, so I'm going to throw this in your way, or to tell you maybe you shouldn't go over here because this huge barbarian army. It's in book 3. It's going to show up. Is in book 3, and you're not ready for book 3 yet. You should turn around and go back.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but like I said, I know it's using some game design logic, but sometimes you need to have that guard who's there to say, no, you're not ready to go here. And you know what? But if the party goes, but we think we're good enough, and you warn them again, and if they say, but we're going to go do it anyway, that's the point where you hit them with a brick wall and say, no, you miss all the warnings. And then you hit them. But for the most part, most players listen.
Did you see my party on Saturday?
No, did I? Should I have?
Yeah,
Should I
you
go
should
back
have.
and rewatch it?
Yeah, you need to go back and rewatch it.
My party absolutely
it was
thinks they've
amazing.
got control of the game. God bless them.
Okay.
I just had a new player show up. I used to run with him all the time back in the 90s. And he's been a friend of mine pretty much on and off as social media connections. You know, I got off Facebook, and that kind of upset some people's ability to communicate with me. But he's in my game now as of Saturday. So I'm like, cool, Travis is back. And Travis knows the games I like to run. He doesn't mind, you know, as long as you give him a little bit of wiggle room, like what your character seemed to exemplify. Like,
Yeah.
I want to do this thing, but I'll jump through this hoop for you. But let me have this thing.
Yes.
Let me have this thing. My party has a couple of people that they seem to think, like, I'm going to do this and take you off your game. Like the party went into a room in the dungeon that had an operating teleport. Hey, Unscripted Unchained RPG Review. How's it going, DM Bloodworth? There's a part where, as a DM, you tell your players, like, you probably don't want to do this. But the party didn't really listen to me. And this character said, I'm jumping through the portal. If it's an operating teleport, I'm going to find out what's on the other side. And the paladin says, I'm following him. I got to protect him. Then another player says, I'm going in. So everybody but basically the druid goes into the teleport. Now On the other side, they find a gargantuan blue dragon and a bunch of his lackeys. The dragon's like, listen, you really don't need to be here. I know you came through one of my devices, but this is where you strip off all your magic gear and you leave. And you'll leave in one piece. I promise you. And the party said, no. And the paladin charges, or basically says, no, we're not going to do that. So the dragon belched a lightning bolt at these guys that were in a line, and 3 characters went to 3 people of ashes. They were just little ashes with maybe little boots. 90 points of damage if you fail, 45 if you save. Nobody had 45 hit points. They all died.
Yeah.
So Travis is the next one in the initiative lineup after these guys have tried to do something. And Travis is like, dude, I've given up all my magic gear right now. And hopefully he'll forgive me for my insolence. And he'll let me and the rest of these people possibly go through that teleport again. We'll go back to where it's safe. So I had half the party for like 2 hours while the other players were rolling up characters. Apparently Hero Lab makes your game crawl to a slow unequippability. Oh, I've got to have the right character feats. I've got to have the right background. I've got to have... do we have traits yet? No. I'm not going to give you traits.
What do we do?
That's one more feat you didn't earn. No. I'm not sorry. You don't get that. So these guys are low as shit, lowest level, and they're 5th level, and like that fight would have been like a CR20 fight.
Yeah.
But they went off the rails a bit, and then they challenged. They didn't take their easy way out, like, you know who your bad guy is now. Now leave. No. We can take him on right now. Charge. And it was hilarious.
That's because players are, for some reason, have this strange thought that they can that you'll never throw anything bigger and meaner than they can handle at them, and thus, well, obviously it's an encounter. We can be able to do this, and you need to, those are the times where I think I've managed to program my players enough through going, hey, look, there's somebody way more powerful than you, and then this new guy who he's young, he has no idea that I do this. All the other players are like, you don't want to actually go after that character. That NPC will annihilate you. And they're like, but if they got stats, I can kill it. No, this is not how it works. And I'm pulling punches trying to go, no, I don't want to kill you. I don't want to kill. Okay, fine. Evaporate. I'm like, and he's like, that's not fair. I'm like, no, it's fair. This character's a named character who's had stats for the last 15 years. You can't win. You could win, but not yet. And everyone was like, why did you attack the Artificer? Because I think they're evil? No. But for some reason, players think they can beat anything because they got stats. And, well, I have good numbers. No, you don't. You're a level 8 character. You're cool, but not that cool.
You're cool, but you haven't hit the, oh my God, I'm super cool.
But even when you hit, oh my God, super cool, every player forgets that at high level, it's rocket tag. You are playing rocket tag. It's whoever hits first, hits hardest, lives. And especially we got player characters and people who have player character classes, guess what? Whoever hits first wins. And that's literally it. So it's like, you better stack your defense, you better stack your attacks, because if you hit, you die. Congratulations. Moving on. And yes, there has been times like that, and I would prefer that over what I've got currently.
One of the best memes I saw, and I'm not finding it here, but there was a funny meme I saw, and we would review it, but basically it was the DM opened up a new campaign, and one of the players had the idea that, listen, we're going to start a movement of equality for all. And the other players were like, yeah, we're going to do some social justice in your D&D world. The guy's like, okay, cool, let's do it. So they leveled up. They got to around level 10, level 12, and their city gets assaulted by unassailable hordes of undead. Like, just there's no thing you can do. You fireball one group, and there's 50 more to take their place. They just don't stop. And like all these undead siege the city, and the players get beaten down and get pushed and beaten and bludgeoned. And the player that had this idea blindsided them from seeing the actual plot of the campaign, and the DM just in the background was having things go on outside the city the players had no give a shit about. They didn't care. I don't care about this other city falling apart. And it ruined that campaign because all those players, after they got beaten and bludgeoned to death, like half of them left and the other half stayed. It's like, oh, we'll play again, whatever. The guy that wanted the social justice, he left. But it was one of the funnier memes I've read about the D&D game, because there's a lot of people who want to bring that into the game, and it's like most of us, we want to escape. We don't want to deal with riots and mostly peaceful stuff. We want to like slaughter an orc after a shitty day, or oh, look, that drow is trying to take slaves. Let's kill her. You know,
or I have players who go, you know what? They want to escape too. They want the power fantasy of being able to go, I am the king, or I am the duke, I am the person in charge. I want to try to do something better. They don't want to play the rebel upstart. They want to actually work up and be the town mayor. They want to be the guy in charge of the town militia. They want to be or I have one player who goes, I want to own an entire sugar plantation. And I'm like, going, careful there, my friend. And he's like, no, I'm going to do it. And right now that's his entire goal. He wants to buy an entire continent and make it into farmland that all serves him. And I'm like, eventually you're going to have an uprising. He goes, I don't care. I know it's coming. I'm preparing for it. And I'm like, as long as you know what's coming. And he's like, I do. And I want it. I'm like, oh, good. Oh, good. I encourage my players. But the thing is, I have players who their escape is, I want to forge Excalibur. That's their entire character's goal, is to forge the ultimate weapon. Do they want to use it? Maybe, but they want to forge it. And I'm like, go be that. But no, none of them want to go out and say, I want to free all the slaves, or I want to do this and bring social justice. I'm like, you're going to fail. You already know you're going to fail. Please keep that out of my game. I would like that very much. But then I'm also going to go, but you also are in a medieval society and with highly stratified, social structures, and the entire universe is going to beat you up. You know that, right? Yes. And you still want to try? Yes. Well, all right. Here's the odds. Roll your dice. Go for it. But I'm also a much more versatile GM than a lot who's tolerant of a lot more crap that I shouldn't be. I really shouldn't be. But screw it. I need to have some fun too, because I'm an infinite GM and an eternal GM, and I just want to play. God damn it! Someday I'm going to be able to play, and I'll be happy, and I'll be able to play something interesting more than just five. Oh, that looks cool.
This is ancient. It's not ancient. This is only a 1999 release, but still.
That's still ancient.
Yeah, it's ancient.
For most.
Yeah, like, it had some ideas on how to start your campaign. And a lot of it revolved around Greyhawk, which at the time was they went back from Forgotten Realms in second ed. And in third ed, they said, Greyhawk's our main campaign.
Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, like 2/3 of the shit they published was Forgotten Realms, and Greyhawk had some.
Yes.
Carol's Cookies is in here. Hey, so is Gorilla 85. Couldn't see a Gorilla Red 85.
Hello.
But the funny thing is that these campaigns, like when we start a campaign, like a lot of us buy modules, or we've already bought modules. The first thing they do is they go on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
You don't read them until it's like the game day.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like 95% of DMs never read an adventure module all the way through. 5% that do have their opinions about it. Also, like 80% of GMs never read the Dungeon Master's Guide. There's tons of guidelines in these books.
Yes.
They solve so many problems.
They do.
But people fail to read. You had it in your library for 5 years. What the fuck? So
yes.
So I'm having this problem where I'm going to say that the majority of DMs I've played with, that when they start to run a game, they've not read a module, they've not read the campaign, they've not read like the
They've not read
things. They kit bash from other campaigns they feel might be superior. And I'm going to say that probably if you're running Forgotten Realms, kit bashing is all right. Compared to like more Greyhawk. I'm not a big Greyhawk guy. But I like Greyhawk more than Forgotten Realms. I'm just going to say. Forgotten Realms has a lot of quote-unquote history to it, but I don't like the history. I've tried reading Forgotten Realms novels and using that as history lessons for like campaign.
You got the beep.
God damn it, I fail all the time. All the time.
It's okay, Bruce. We still love you.
I know. Which is why I love Patolus so much, because even though, yes, there was high-level people there, if you wanted to take out a high-level person, if you were in Blaine's group and he ran Tolus,
I did.
And
I did. It was a fantastic time. They never left the surface of the city. The tower was there. They looked at it and went, nope.
Nope.
They looked at the Underdark and went, nope. And then they found, but then they found a tribe of cat people outside and went, that's more interesting for us. But they always like run back to town. Like it was all surface stuff, dockyard, surface, inter guild work, and I kept on going. And they would like go into the sewers a little bit, probe the Underdark, and then go, this is too scary. And then they would like run back upstairs. But the thing is, there was so much in that book to go, you could run an entire service campaign. No problem.
You could run an entire campaign as just guards.
Yeah. And they pretty much were just playing merchant guards who were just playing, like just fighting merchant, guild politics. That's all they were doing. And I didn't prod them. They just chose that. It was great. Also, I wonder at the same thing what they are doing if they don't read a goddamn DMG. Like, you got to read the rules. And right now, I have a young player who's like, I want a GM, and I'm like, have you read the rules? No. Then you can't GM. And he's like, because like. The whole last session I just ran, which was a big naval battle, and he's like, can I do this? No. Can I make this? No. I have this cool idea. Can I make it? No.
No.
Or yes. Oh, I can? Do the math. And he's like, what? There are rules for item creation. There are rules for spell creation. There are rules for everything. Have you read the fucking rules? No. And he's like, no. Then read the rules. I'll even point you what chapter you need to read. Read the manual. The manual tells you everything. And it's brainlessly. And these days, you can just go online and go search how to make everything.
You don't have to buy the goddamn book.
Right! You just gotta fucking do the research. But they won't. Well, 3 of them will. 2 of them don't care. They're like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Go. You know what? Everyone needs a supporting actor. Everyone needs a supporting cast. Congratulations. You've embraced being a supporting actor. We'll call you for your scene, shoot the scenery, and then we'll push you back off. And you're happy with that? I'm happy with that. Congrats, this guy. I want to be center stage. Read the script. No. Fuck you. Okay, moving on.
And see, that's my issue is that when I actually play, and it's just with the group that we have, I always wind up becoming the face. The one, the leader slash the face slash everything. It's just like, but I don't want to make the decisions.
No,
Y'all make them. So then I force them to make the decisions, and then they get mad at me.
now my teacher and co-partner in crime, he came up with the great idea of just doing this like almost like an officer enlistment thing, where he's like, "Party, choose your leader." They chose one kid, and we're like, "All right, kid, you are now the guy in charge." What? Everybody's under you. You're the one in charge. Can I have somebody who will help? You, kid, congratulations. You are now his co-boss, his co-leader. Oh, so we're in charge of everything? Yup. Everybody can screw up. It's your fault. But remember, if you say something and they don't listen to it, punishment will go down to them. And they're like, oh, now there's somebody in charge. And that poor kid, I don't like leadership. No one does. and it's fantastic because over the year, that kid's been growing into leadership. And it's been kind of fun watching him step up. And meanwhile, me and the other teacher sitting here back going, "Oh no, go ahead, keep going." Well, are you going to help? No. We're here to judge you for your options, but we're not going to punish you. And he's like, and we're like, right, but you two are authority figures in real life. Yeah, in real life, but not in game. We're nobody in game. You can ignore us, but you're a teacher and you're an authority figure. So, you don't need my approval. Go, be in charge. Do it, and it's beautiful.
This is the worst audition ever. This is the player trying to impress the other players with their rule mastery.
Yes.
I'm very impressed. You're a very fine actor.
I would have.
That's basically how you brew them out. Like, listen, we really appreciate your enthusiasm for the game, but sit over here with the other players and learn a little more game theory.
The thing is that I would have thrown that kid out. It really would. But we have a problem. He's a student. We can't throw him out.
Well, you can. But...
We can, but we have parents and everything else, and no, it's less trouble. It really is less trouble. And the thing is that he wants to do everything fast, but he doesn't want to learn. But he can be taught. We're teachers. We gotta teach him somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my camera reset. Great.
Oh, you can.
Oh well.
I don't hate Keely Chow. I like Keely Chow. Nice person. Anyway, I want people when you assume the title of the GM or referee or dungeon master, know what you're getting into.
Oh yeah.
Understand that you're going to have this game. You're going to have these people. Maybe it's a one shot. Maybe it's a campaign. For a one shot, you really don't have to alter things too much. You could run one shots all day without knowing anything about Greyhawk, and you can play this Sunless Citadel module, and your players will have a ball. They will be locked in a dungeon until they complete it, until they kill the evil druid. In my old second edition AD&D mind is like, druids can't be evil. They're only true neutral. And the Villains Campaign Handbook from Second Ed helps out with that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But if you want to run druids with alignment as third edition does or the other editions do, go ahead. It's your table. It's your table if you want to do it. The rules were written for a reason. The rules were written for different editions, and they conflict with newer editions. You figure out what your players want to do. All of my dwarven females in my games, unless they actively spend the time to shave, they have beards. Get with it. You know, some people like Tolkien-esque characters. My halflings have beer guts because all the old Tolkien-esque paint jobs, all the old Tolkien-esque paintings, all the old miniatures. The halflings had beer guts. They were paunchy. So, you know, that was the old style, and I still like that old style. I don't want everybody to be super hot. The last thing I want to do is look at 4th edition D&D and get a chubby over a thick-ass dwarven female without a beard. Like, not that I get turned on by beard hair, but, like, dwarven women should not be hot to Bruce in 2021 or 2012 or 20 whatever. That's just it. Garrett, what are you doing?
Adjusting things.
Okay. So, Gorilla Red's like, I don't have that patience. Look at the angry player. Get the fuck out!
Trust me, I so badly sometimes want to say that, but private schools, they pay for they pay for things. Can't limit it on what you can do.
They buy all his books.
Yes. Yes, I am poor. Like, the club is poor. We who run things are poor. So yes, money that can be spent on books that I don't pay earned money for. Good idea. Good thing. I like that stuff. That's how we have miniatures.
We don't discuss my expenditures on the miniature market. I'm just saying that tomorrow I'm taking the girlfriend to the game store. She wants to pet big hairy dogs, and I'm going to look at miniatures. And I don't know what's going to happen. That's all I'm going to say. You betcha.
You're going to get a dog?
No. The game store has one husky and one Alaskan Malamute.
Oh.
In San Antonio, it's really weird, but Brenda does her absolute best to keep those dogs under an AC vent at the store. These dogs will plop down right in the middle of the pedestrian walkway, so you better walk around them. Those dogs own the store. They're also very friendly as long as you don't try to, like, get your face in their face. The male takes offense to that. The female will actually come up to me and lick my face because apparently I taste good. Which makes me wonder, how long do I have before the dog finally is like, okay, how many hit points is his face?
Not enough.
Not enough.
A little bit longer.
Yeah, she's a good girl. She's a big Malamute, but she's kind of smaller than she's not smaller. I think whenever he gets wet, he is actually 4 pounds less than her, but he's got so much fluff. You see this, and it's like one of those Tibetan Mastiffs, but just the amount of hair. It's not a Tibetan Mastiff, it's a husky, but it's a big, fluffy husky.
Tibetan mountain dogs are amazing.
Yeah, the one time I've seen one, he was not a friendly dog, so I respect him. And they're one owner dogs. Don't misinterpret that.
Oh no, the one I got to enjoy being around thought he was a lap dog, and that was. And I'm sitting on the couch going, "This is the greatest day in the entire universe." The dog goes, "I want to be in your lap," and he decided to sit on the whole couch. And I'm like, "I'm going to die under here. This is great."
Those are amazing dogs, but man, they are fun. Until you are the dog is hungry, and then you are realizing I'm in a bad spot. But I was lucky. I was on the other side of the fence. He didn't like me being where I was. That's all, and I can respect that. I was on the property. I had to do my job. I'm sorry. Most dogs, I feel that same way. If dog doesn't like me, but I've got to be there, I'm like, please secure your dog so I don't get chewed on. That's all I ask. My boss does not want to have a legal battle for me trying to be here. Anyway, Carol's like, I have a dog. She sucks. The end.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Debating on doing some more work on this Valkyrie figure. I didn't do the hair right, but I was going to go over it and add blonde and then platinum highlights to the hair just to make her look like one of those fake 90s ladies.
Yeah.
Garrett, what campaign are you running right now? Or are you running the campaign?
I am not running a damn thing right now, and I love it.
How nice.
I just get to walk down, plop down in my chair down in the basement, and other people. The DM says this is what we're doing, and I say, okay, I'm going to screw it up.
I envy that. I envy that.
I'm in the middle of smushing two adventure paths together, and the players are suffering because of it. Because they are not prepared for it in their mind. I've given them all of the opportunities to succeed, but they have elected to try a different way.
Oh. Which way are they going this time?
I don't know. I hope not through another teleport gate. Gorilla Red used to have this white schnauzer, and he'd pick him up and show him on stream to us whenever he was gaming with us. It was a cute dog. Very adorable, fluffy thing. Reminded me a lot of a white version of Harry.
Okay.
I miss Harry. The worst day of 2013 was Valentine's Day of 2013 when I got the phone call from Dad, your dog just died. I'm like, ugh!
Aww.
Hey, Andy's in the chat. Hey, Andy.
Andy?
I'm sorry, Gorilla Red. He looked like a schnauzer in a face. He was West Highland Terrier. My bad. And I made an error last game. I didn't, in fact, go through my library, and it is James R. Silke that wrote the 4 novels for The Prisoner of the Horned Helmet. But without Frank Frazetta's direction and close correspondence, those 4 books would not have been written. I do want to say that. When I run a module, I look at the players that I have, and I'm trying to think of how can I make these players happy with the ideas I have in my head. And I don't even try to run the published module. I mean, with this one here, it took us probably 5 or 6 sessions to get through it. And this is an old 3.0 module. One of the better ones they did, but really it had a lot of combat, lots of hack in it, not a lot of NPC motivations, not a lot of that. There was some really interesting stuff, but like they had one part that as a DM when I read it, I was happy because in a module designed to get players to 4th or 5th level, they have a roper in basically the basement. And the players discovered the roper, and the roper was on friendly terms initially. I used die to determine how is the NPC feeling before the players really start to converse with them. And if I rolled an 18, the roper is in a friendly position. And at the time, I rolled like a 19 or 20. So the roper wasn't in a mood to eat the players. But the moment they realized there's a roper there, they tried getting into action. And that didn't really work too well because the roper drained your strength. And then he's like, listen, I'm not in the mood to eat you. If you're willing to be peaceful, I'll let you sit there, regain your strength, I'll grab you some food, and you can lay here for the next few days while I try to figure out how to get you water. And he figures out how to get him water. He gives him food, and they don't end up killing him, but he gives him a quest. And so they ended up actually liking the roper because the roper gave them some information about the environs that they were in, which the roper would know about the environs he's in, but he doesn't know much outside of that. And it was a pretty interesting setup, but basically in the module, the roper is there to be a deterrent from the players advancing further because you're only 5th level. If you go further, the roper eats you.
Ouch.
Hey, Sherry and Grumpy Old Ninja Kentaro joined. Hello and hail.
Hello, hello.
So we had an interesting setup, and the way I've been running these modules is that I basically will have the players in this countryside, and I realize the hobgoblins are coming from over here, and the players realize they have to run away from them until they hit giants or other things of big note. And they start looking around for help. And they find like little bolt holes or little chasms or caverns or something to find evasion in and stop pursuit. And that's where I get a chance to run old modules from TSR, D&D, or whatever. But I've still got a lot of NPCs from the campaign that I'm feeding in one or 2 or 4 at a time as either like, here's something you need to fight so you can get experience points and level up and have materials, or this is over here, you probably don't want to go past this, not yet. And that's kind of the way how I have railroaded my players, but within the boundaries of the countryside, they have an idea where they can go and they can do things. Gorilla Red says nothing deters like gainful employment.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
14 years, true.
I've been there.
I've vanished for 14 years from the internet, from everything. So yeah.
I hated being without a job. I'm not a good guy. That's when I don't have a job, I'm kind of miserable. More so than most, because I hate to say this. I'll just admit this right out there. I get my identity from whatever job I'm doing, and I think a lot of us are probably like that more often than not. But I really got into it for a while, and I had to figure out who Bruce was.
He had to go and touch himself a lot.
Well, that too. Thank God for all the thick women on Instagram. my tennis elbow loves you. No, I just gotta say that, like, when I was in the oil field, I really wore that mantle pretty happy and proudly. And whenever I was driving for Uber and making money for 12 hours a day, I'd be behind the wheel and getting fat. I really enjoyed that. But when I was in the hospital, wondering if I was going to survive or not, I was really panicking. I don't know how else I could put it. I didn't know if I was going to come back out of that. And I thought that I might have ended. So I'd like to say thank you guys. Those of you who enjoy the content or enjoy me as a person, for coming back and seeing me again. And I do plan on getting better. I do plan on giving you better content.
He's been trying for 11 years.
Yes. Well, no, the players I have, like, if I try to railroad them, even if I gave them Kingmaker, if they know the game and the adventure we're playing, one of them is probably going to find the module on the web, and they're going to share the information in a private chat away from me and tell me all the stuff that's going on. Later on, whenever I realize they're sculpting their own way through this campaign, away from all the danger and to all the treasure, so they can mitigate their losses and they can kind of rig the game or stack the deck in their favor.
See, can you jump in on this one? this is part of the whole you have to read the module before the players read the module. Or, to go caveat back to our read the goddamn book thing, is that since I do read my goddamn books, I have this problem. So since I know what's coming, since I've read this, and when the players start to go, hey, I'm going to start using insider information, that's when I'm like, yeah, guess what? We're going to start deviating from the book now and start moving a little bit further away. And so if you've actually done research, you know when they started cheating.
Yes.
And at that point, it's like gloves are off time. We're gonna things are getting more interesting. I've also had another derailing moment happen when I was running through to go use World of Warcraft, the Warcraft RPG for a bit to go pull in something that's almost verboten in gaming. But the storyline was the first, from the first era was actually pretty solid.
Oh yeah.
And then some player actually asked the question, why? Why is X thing happening? Well, yeah, I've got the setting book for it. And then suddenly I start going, well, yeah, this bandit lord, he was actually screwed over by, he was he was a mason that helped build a kingdom, and he got screwed over by the kingdom for not paying his bills. And that's why he's built an entire bandit organization. And the party went, wait, what? So the noble kingdom screwed this guy over, and that's why we're having bandit problems? Yeah. And then the party went, we're joining up with the bandit king. And I'm like, whoa. No, you can't do it. No, we've all decided that we're going to join up with the bandit lord. And so this cool dungeon and everything that I had already planned out was like, they're like, no, we're just going in there and saying, we're applying. Where's your HR department? We're going to go sign up for the Dark Lord. And like, why? Well, he got screwed over by the government. Why shouldn't we fight for him? And suddenly the whole campaign derailed, and now I'm pulling out books left and right going, well, shit. Okay, cool. New storyline. All because somebody bothered to ask the question of why? And so in any adventure path, because imagine going to Ravenloft and going, well, now here's the Dark Lord vampire who rules the realm, and then you go, so how's your day going? Kind of crap actually, and because I'm could we help? How? And then suddenly the game changes, and you walked in to use a different example. I was running Legend of the Five Rings. I was trying to set up for the actual Scorpion Clan coup. Everything was going to be I was getting ready to run that entire thing, and then the party went, wait, what? There's a whole and somebody asked a question and did some research and found out one of the major events that was going to happen beforehand, and the party literally went, we're joining the Scorpions. Why? We're going to save the world. What? Yeah. Or Strahd, yes. Do you have dental? And a lot of players will actually and suddenly the arch villains of the entire Scorpion clan of the coup, they joined them because they all went, no, if we let the Scorpions win, we stop the apocalypse. And I'm like, but you're going to derail the entire storyline and the entire clan wars and all that. And I go, but we stopped the apocalypse. It doesn't matter. And at that point, okay, whole new campaign, whole new story happens because players ask a simple question, and that's when all the fun happens. But again, you wouldn't know all this if you don't do your research, if you don't read your books, if you don't know your lore, if you're not doing your job as a GM to know your setting, know your game, read your fucking rules. You wouldn't be you'd be like, this campaign's ruined now. How I gonna cancel game? No fun for me no more. I can't just brainless through book. How do? Sorry, I have no mercy for those GMs that go, party walked off. I walked off script. Fuck campaign. Throw it. I'm done. Bye.
Now, see, I actually had a similar type thing, sort of, because I actually went through and pulled all the actual quests from the game, and I ran them through the DeFellis Brotherhood entire quest chain in my World of Warcraft campaign.
Yeah, so you were doing the
RPG.
same thing I was doing.
Yeah, except I had a Tauren that was a priest or shaman.
Yeah.
He was literally hung like bull. He literally started converting members to his faith. So they
Hey.
left the Brotherhood and joined his faith to spread the great word of Tauren Skull.
Hey, encourage this stuff. Like,
Oh, it was
the
great.
best part about being a GM is that you could take those dangling questions that you would get from a game and go, what if, and then spin off counterfactuals. Because I've grabbed from game, like, from not just books but games, RPGs, not just MMOs, but it's like just weird stories. Hell, I have gone so far as to boot up a game, start a game of Crusader Kings, start randomly things, start a random kingdom, and just start writing down nobles' names, and then run the game for about 10 years, and then write down a history, and then transpose that history somewhere else, change some names. So it's like, well, sorry, it's not the Franks fighting blah, whatever. And suddenly players are like, this is kind of cool and interesting. And now you've done some little bit of work, and now you just glue in a little bit of this. You just take an adventure module that didn't work before, and, well, I can't run this campaign book because so-and-so in the group has already done this thing 4 times. I don't know how anyone can play an adventure module more than once. Because, what, are you trying for a higher score? You've already beaten it, or you've already been beaten by it. Why are you trying again?
Temple of Elemental Evil.
Right.
I know people who've gone through that at least 5 to 7 times.
I mean, at a certain point, you know the traps. Are you just hoping to see your dice rolls run a little bit better this time? Is that what we're doing? Because I've done a few of those doomed death and destruction dungeons that are all just there to annihilate you, and you know what? It's fun if you have no attachment to your character, which is okay. Some people do, and I'm not going to fault that. But after the first time, yes, it is called writing a book. But the thing is that I don't want to script my I don't want to script my PC's actions. But the problem is, like, a lot of GMs I'm just gonna pull a random book out, even though it's not the right book. Like, just, this is my book. It's a module. You must play module. And you didn't follow my script. I don't know what to do. Okay, players win. Get treasure. Oh, sorry.
Lost
shut up
Lands. The Lost Lands is like the campaign I typically run. That's my home campaign. But I found a free download, and I think it's time for me to share that, because there's a campaign waiting for you. If you
Really?
Yeah, if your players want to play a campaign that is a great sandbox, I just put it in the chat. This is the Lonely Coast for Pathfinder, but they've got system neutral and even 5th edition versions. But it's free. It's like 96 pages free. 96 pages free. Free. It's a section of the planet that you can plop wherever you want to by a eastern seaboard, and you can put your players in there, and they can adventure around, and you can give them a little bit of read aloud text or bullet points, and your players will be like, this is different. because
the
it
fun part,
provides a skeleton or a framework for you to set your adventures in. It doesn't force things.
I won't lie. There are some times where it's like I will take a map, turn it upside down, then mirror it, and then go, "Hey, look, it's a whole new world map that you didn't realize was there." And most people are like, "Oh, that's a neat world." Sure is. It's unique. Sure is. Go for
Well,
it.
and you were talking about like when you pull stuff from other things, other RPGs, etc. I
Mhm.
mean, truthfully, what I've done in the past too is pull stuff out of books that I've read.
Oh
Actually,
yeah,
like novels. So I
right.
mean, and that is just as fun too because you can set because a lot of the people at the table have not read those books that you've probably read.
A lot of people don't. It's like as a GM, you should like you are rewarded. Um, if you've like read a lot of books, you really
Mhm.
have because let's be honest. How except for those of us who have you know Audible accounts and listen to endless piles of books while we're driving. A lot
That's
of
what I
us
do.
haven't. What was that?
That's what I do.
Yeah. So but a lot of players they don't read a lot of books. They don't watch a lot of movies. They don't read a lot. They don't read a lot. So as far as so if you've read 3 or 4 book series that are outside the norm, away from the mains, like sure, if you start pulling from like Dresden, you might get some people who go, oh wait, I know that, and they'll know where you're pulling from, and they can start playing along with, which can be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Or if you're somebody who can like pull from, like say, Alona Andrews, and then they go, "Who's that?" Good, you don't know it's coming, and now you can now you can pull lots of cool things. So the more you read, the more you got tools in your box, and it's like every GM should be like encouraged to go out there and don't just read generic fiction. I read cool stuff, read fun things. Like say all you're into is modern day modern urban fiction. Read some I read some high fantasy. Read some military fiction. Read some just generic fun stuff, and suddenly you've got characters more than you.
Oh yeah.
And now you can mix and match, and players won't. And you've got an idea what to go for. Sure, you may be pulling from Sandman. It's Neil Gaiman. You can't go wrong with that. So go have fun, be more creative, work, and don't just depend on I know Terry Pratchett, I know Tolkien, and I know Robert Jordan. Congrats, congrats.
And if you know
And
Robert
yes,
Jordan,
Machiavelli is great. What you were
The
saying,
other-
Robert Jordan?
yeah. Wheel of Time, rough.
But a lot of people did read, like not so much anymore, but for a long time, Wheel of Time was one of those books that you just had to. It was there. It was omnipresent,
Yeah.
and you couldn't escape it. Much like how you can't escape Game of Thrones. Well, you couldn't escape it for like a decade. Now,
Well,
now not so much.
One other thing that I do like to draw on to is that there is a specific Pathfinder module called Carnival of Tears.
Okay.
This thing is amazing. Bruce is over there clapping because he loves it too.
I never heard of this one. So
literally, there's going to be some spoilers here, but
don't worry, I won't read it. So
basically, it the player characters go to this carnival and they start winning these Cupid dolls. Well, these Cupid dolls are not 100% on the up and up. They're all cursed. The only way to get rid of them and their effects on you is to literally have each individual one removed curse.
okay,
So if they win 10 Cupid dolls,
they're doomed.
uh-huh,
Oh, sounds nice, actually.
Let me see if I've got it.
You guys were talking about, while he's looking for that, you're talking about Kingmaker and how everybody's Kingmaker games have kind of gone off the deep end and such. And there's a really nasty end to Kingmaker.
Yeah, there is. It'd be cool to get to it, but if you just spring the end on him, it's such a shit ending. Oh, hell, the whole last book is a shit book.
I don't think it's a shit book. I think it's a book that needs to happen. I think there's a point where like you're the DM and you've given the players like plenty of leeway and you've crafted all the Holy Avengers you can sell and you've done all your work to where you've done everything to avoid any actual responsibility or like endangerment. All of a sudden, like these 10 blossoms appear on the horizon, and wherever the blooms are at, the entire world goes to shit because these are anchors from her reality that tethers into yours and rips your country into the realm of the first world, the Fae.
See, I think that's why I didn't like that book, was because you've worked really hard to like craft all this cool stuff, and now you're stuck in this. It's like everything you've done it just goes right out the window, and it just goes back to being. It defaults back down to. So this cold mechanic of empire building goes away, and you just go right back down to. Now you go fight the Dark Lord in a standard traditional Dungeons and Dragons thing. It's like, congratulations, we're back to playing a standard adventure, just with more steps. Like, cool. I'm not against it, but I don't know. It just felt like it was cool, but the final fight just felt like, so why was I a king again? Why was I the ruler of an empire again? I don't know.
See, I think Carnival of Tears is a good module, but I think if you port it from the campaign where it was set in the Dark Moon Vale, and you instead shove it into Kingmaker and make it like an easy leveler. If you make it an easy leveler and put it into one of your towns, where like the carnival comes to town, and you let the players like have that in their town where the Cupid dolls can be a thing. Like you could spend an entire level chasing down the goddamn Cupid dolls.
Yeah, because it's a 1 through 10. So on a D10 roll, 1 through 4 you get bad luck, which is a -1 penalty to all attack rolls. 5 through 7 is Q-Pie face. As time passes, your face slowly begins to resemble the expression of a doll. And -4 to charisma and charisma-based spell checks. 8 and 9 is stench. You stink horribly and are sickened for as long as you suffer from the curse, regardless of how many times you bathe. And then number 10 is warts. You break out in horrific warts all over your body, taking 1d4 points of dexterity and charisma damage. This damage cannot be healed until the curse is removed. So just those Cupid dolls. You can even just port the Cupid dolls.
Yeah.
I mean, just those Cupid dolls right there, that's enough to really throw off. And there's nothing wrong with pulling stuff if you're running a module to kind of tweak yours out. You can pull stuff like this from a completely different module, even if you're not even running Pathfinder First Ed, which is what this is for. If it's got the ability to do the remove curse, you could do it.
I hate when you have a really good campaign rolling, and then your players will do something to where you have DM's block. And I hate the feeling you get whenever game day is on its way and you're close. Are you guys still there? My browser is right now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, I see it. There you are. Yeah, it's called Carnival of Tears, Connell Wolf. Nicholas Logue wrote the module, and if you're able to buy everything Nicholas Logue or Yarg, Nicholas Logue, yeah, Nicholas Logue will improve your Pathfinder game. But you have to occasionally like reset your mind and just not worry about game, not worry about things coming up, and you have to play, or maybe you have to read. And we've been discussing really good stuff like, some fantasy authors kind of inspire us. Tolkien doesn't really inspire me much, but Fred Saberhagen inspires the shit out of me. And so does Jack Vance, which is why I'm a boring DM. Uh, I, I love traditional high fantasy. And Fred Saberhagen wrote one of the best modules, or one of the best epic stories, where there's 12 swords, and each one of the swords has its own specific purpose. And as you're reading the book, you're kind of horrified about some things. Like there's Town Saber, who basically you put that in the hands of somebody whenever a town gets attacked, and whoever gets it turns into the baddest mofo alive, and nothing cuts them down until the adrenaline wears off, and then they fall to pieces in bloody giblets. And you have these 12 books, which each of them have their own capacity, their own deadly ability. And it's kind of fun. There's plenty of web pages out there dedicated to how to customize these for various D&D campaigns or various other campaigns, if you so choose. But to drop something like that in a game is it kind of changes things a bit. If you need a change, sometimes what you need to do is literally pull an EverQuest and just say, we're going on an artifact hunt. And all of a sudden, players will be like, wait, what? We're getting the Axe of Dwarvish Lords? What? And they have this like moment where like, but you've never allowed us to actually get these high level treasures. You've never allowed us to get these things that are in the DMG and the treasures tables. You always give us a +1 sword of putzery. I never get the Rod of Lordly Might or this or that or the other. Now we're actually hunting the big shit. Oh my God. And the artifact hunts really will, they will change your game, and it'll take the focus off your quote unquote your lack of story, and now it turns into a road trip.
Oh yeah.
And it's fun to put other NPC parties on the hunt for these as well, because then as a DM it gets to test your mettle against your player's ability to tactically think whenever you have a fight between two parties, your home party in front of you at the table, and your ability as DM to run a convincing other party of adventurers like they were being played by actual people. I think that's one thing that that's one way that whenever you see me do that, I've usually hit DM block and I can't get around it. So, a new magic item has entered your realm. And you'll hear about it. But I think that's one way that you can spice up your game and kind of change things a bit while you're adjusting to your table, because your table is going to dictate where you go. You can say we're playing through Undermountain tonight, and you can say that all you want. If your players aren't enjoying it, you're going to have a limited time before your table's empty.
True. Yep.
And that's something I think you hit on pretty squarely. So as a DM, you always want to have reasons for the players to be there at somewhere they don't want to be. At least, like, nobody wants to go to work. Find something like that to kite players into doing things they might not want to do, but later on, they'll be thankful they did these things.
Oh, yeah.
You want them to have, like, a reason as to why they did something. The character, looking back on previous exploits as a player, is usually a good way for players to remember all the things they've done at the table. But at the same time, you want them to remember these things fondly and not like grind number 73, we did this, and this adventure path sucked.
Yeah.
Garrett, any thoughts?
Try not to. It hurts.
I know.
No, but I mean, truthfully, if the players aren't having fun, they're going to go away. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's when excuses will come up. Oh, can't make it tonight, and then you get a couple others that do it too, and then boom, it just starts rolling, and and then finally you don't have a game anymore. So I mean, even one thing that I think, if I remember correctly, Bruce, you used to do, and I know I used to do it also, is we ask, what I'll address that in a minute, Carol. Is ask them what they thought of the night, what what their feelings on the night were, how they thought they did, and take that feedback. I mean, because if they tell you, I wasn't feeling it tonight, go, well, you were just having a bad night. What was going on? Some people just have a bad night.
Oh, yeah.
Other people just are starting to fall out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very good way of getting that read on them to see if, as a GM, you need to tweak some stuff, or in the actual game itself, or if it's time to replace that player.
And that's something a lot of people don't really want to do, but that's something that has to happen sometimes, because maybe they're just a poor fit for the game, or they're more interested in what happened on Facebook, and you just give me a nice place to sit while I press like on all 3,700 of these posts, and I understand the need for you to want to sit somewhere, but I could have had somebody who enjoyed the game at the table, or like these people.
Yes.
Connell's like, mushrooms help my DM block. Yeah, there was a time where the party was fighting for their lives against some trolls, and there's Connell just collecting mushrooms in the cavern about 40 foot away, and I was expecting somebody to cast a fireball on him. Oh, sorry, I was trying to set the mushrooms on fire because they explode, and that would really hurt the trolls. I didn't mean to get you there, thief. Oops.
But I mean, it's even just, truthfully, it's kind of like at work. Also, I mean, I hate to put it like this, but you don't know if you're doing a good job unless you're getting that feedback.
Yeah.
No.
And, and if you want to think of it, when you're GMing, your players are your customers.
They are. And the thing is that if you actually treat your game like work, a job you enjoy, not a job that you despise going to, and I don't want to wake up at 6 a.m. to do this, but if you treat it like a job you actually enjoy, and you're there promptly, and you kind of have the expectation for your players, like, hey, I said it'd be about this time. What's going on? Why can't we all convene at the right time? What am I doing wrong here? Because I want you to set aside time for this, and I want to set aside time for this. I want everybody to treat this like they actually enjoy it. And if they're not enjoying it, then maybe I need to step my game up, or you just need to leave because your level of involvement is going to be noticeably less than what I want as a DM. And I think if you treat a game like it's an endeavor that you are enjoying, you're going to be on time. You're going to be early for it. I'm sorry for being late for tonight's stream. I did want to be here, but my traffic that I have to go through is a little bit intense, and I apologize.
You've got the truck. Just, start spraying them with shit. They'll get out of your way.
Right. I was thinking about getting one of those little blue torches, the little butane torches.
Oh,
and
God.
If people really piss me off, I'm going to just pull over on the shoulder and just push it on the pressure and engage the the PTO and put a hose on that rear tank and have the butane torch in the other hand, and I'd probably get about maybe 10 or 12 vehicles before I got shot to death, because that's just how people roll in Texas. They usually go armed. Carol's like, drive over them. No, with this truck here, I don't want to test this truck. It's got 300,000 miles on it. I think I'd probably fall apart and die. But now I as much as I want to do that, you can't do that. I want to do that. That's why I play video games, is for the escapism. That's why I play role-playing games, for the escapism, because I have to deal with traffic in San Antonio, and it's miserable. Andy's like, I've learned DMing before. Sometimes you can't DM for your friends. Sometimes you need to find a table with a group of strangers to get a good game going.
You're not wrong.
There are some players, they think they can run right over you, and they're like, no, I only want to play I only want to play a tiefling bard in your 5th edition game. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
I want to play a half gnome, half tiefling.
I think
Blaine's head is about to explode just with that.
I actually have one of those moments where I had a player give me a suggestion, a race combo that I was like, please no. And then he's like, I want to play a Kitsune
Bard.
And I'm like, I'm going to tell you no right now. He goes, no. Before you tell me no, listen to the rest of the concept. And I'm like, you got one shot at this. Sell it to me. And he's like, I'm playing an investigative reporter bard. And I'm like, what? He's like, I work for a paper called The Tall Tale. I'm like, okay, you got dad puns in there. You got me on this one. And so he's not playing yonder horny bard. He's actually playing the bard who's like using his words and his speech is to make everyone buy his paper more. And I'm like, okay, but you win. All right. Okay. You can play this weird combo now because you gave me a good concept for an interesting race combo that wasn't just simply I be exotic, sexy bard. Do what I say and do what I want. And I'm like, I will kill you and tomorrow and in your sleep for trying that. But now he's like,
hide behind the pile of dead bards. How many of those do you have? 50.
Right, but this bard got me. I got a great concept. I smiled. I laughed through it and went, all right, you're good. You're good. You're in the game now because you gave me a dad pun for your newspaper name. Go. Drive fast, take chances. Yes.
Yeah, drive fast.
Yeah, something Fox News, definitely. But he was trying to avoid that pun because he knew I'd say no. He's like, if you gave me that pun.
You can always, if you have players that are forcing bards or multi-class bards in your 5e game, as a DM, it's your duty just to script up a whole bunch of NPC bards have an invasion. Oh wait, my bad.
Or I had a campaign where I swear we had a bard who decided that he wanted to be the band manager, and he managed to con the entire party to all take perform, and he was just the rhythm guitarist in the background who's just playing his bass guitar, and everyone's like, everyone else is the actual frontman, and he's the one who's like going like, pay no attention to the guy who's the actual skilled performer in the band. The rest of you are all just crap. I'm the actual performer. But he didn't let anyone else know it, that he was the performer. That he was the reason why we were selling out all the time. But mind you, a fighter, a barbarian, everybody's in different roles. But like, we were a traveling minstrel band, but with only one bard. But the bard wasn't advertising that he was the bard. It was great.
The barbarian is not a percussionist. What the fuck is he?
Our barbarian was our screaming lead singer. And if anyone got angry at him, he would just rage and go into the audience and start beating people up.
Start the mosh pit.
Yeah. And we were like, this is the greatest thing in the entire universe. Go. And the thing was, it just started out as a joke. Just a bad pun that everyone went, that's our new party concept. And they just, I'm like, you're just like discount Metalocalypse. He goes, we don't care. We don't care. We're just going to travel from town to town causing mayhem and chaos while our bard is in the background going, I'm the rich one who makes everyone happy.
Have you ever played Cthulhu Now?
No, but I sounds like I want to.
Okay.
I played Cthulhu then.
In the 1991 or 92 release of Cthulhu Now,
I like that.
there is a adventure where the players recognize that there's something going on, and there's a local band that just made their way to regional band, and they're going on a 5-state trip. And one of the players had a previous encounter with a Amigo, and the screams from the Amigo sounded a lot like the guitar ending of one of these songs. And the players are like, what? And so one of the players, we go to the record shop and I buy all their tapes. Okay. This is back in the 90s. I'm like, you have money for that. So we go there, and come to find out, the players discover that this band is a group of Hester worshipers.
Ooh.
And they are putting up 9 monoliths in the region. And at each event, at each concert, there's a new obelisk that they conjure from the ground using the energy from the crowd as they do this. And they have this really intense show with pyrotechnics, and people are impressed because on $3,000, they've got fireworks and all sorts of other stuff. And at the very end, they pull a rock out of the ground from nowhere. And it's getting around, and the players we got to stop them. And they tried. And the players died, of course.
Oh, yeah, it's Cthulhu.
Yeah, but one of the players had done his original idea where he was going to sit on a rooftop overlooking the concert. He would have actually been able to take him out, because on stage the guy is vulnerable.
Yeah.
But whenever they're backstage or on a bus or whatever, he has his entire goon squad right there. And that was what the players tried to do. They tried to get rid of the lead singer, this Haster priest. They tried to get rid of him the not so logical way. We're going to sneak around and do this and pretend to be recorders or reporters, and we're going to give them a recording and do an interview and all this stuff. And they got too close, and they started their interview, and then they tried to start a melee right there, and the hotel room doors got bashed open, and the players died from melee damage. In Cthulhu, that's kind of hard, but they managed it. And I felt kind of bad because I didn't dissuade the player that was playing the ex-Navy guy to be a sniper, but I said, you could probably line up a shot. It'll be up to you. And he thought about it, and he's like, this is Illinois, right? I said, yeah. And he's like, if I get caught with a gun like this, they're never letting me go. We'll try to do the reporter angle first. And that's what killed the entire party. But it was a good module. It was one of the best modules. And I ran it like it suggested. It ended in TPK.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I want to find this module now.
It is in Cthulhu Now.
Carol, that is for a whole different website. We don't need you pulling rocks out of nowhere and getting your rocks off. Just saying.
You have to understand, Carol is a strange one that she wants to have brony and goggle porn.
Well, in the bron in
My
the
bad, prawn. Go ahead.
can a vampire be a bard?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say actually they would be pretty effective because of the enchantment of their voice.
The vampire gets fascinate and bonuses to that, and
Mm-hmm.
he gets a bunch of other things he can do. A vampire bard is actually really deadly. The only thing deadlier than that is in melee damage would be a vampire barbarian, because undead never get fatigued.
Find a. I could think of a few ideas, but not for this stream. No thanks. I'll hold this for later.
All right.
All right, giggity, giggity.
I mean, I think we've pretty much kind of covered the subject that we were looking at, and ideas on how to put your own twist on modules and sandboxes.
Yeah,
that you're running.
As a note for those that are involved with Legion of Myth and Gatekeepers, we have no animosity towards Heathen Dog. He's a fine gentleman.
Yeah.
We disagree with the statement that sandboxes suck. I would prefer to have the sandbox. Go ahead, Blaine.
No, sandboxes can suck. When done wrong, they do suck. When they done terribly, they're a quicksand. They're a quagmire because you give too much freedom and the players just sit there and spin because you've given them nowhere to go. So you need to have, but much like, if anyone's ever like, if you look at an empty sandbox, it's just empty, but you gotta start you gotta start building something in it. Drawing a road, putting a sandcastle up, putting in, where your Hot Wheels are going to run through, or your action figures are playing around in. You got to actually put work into making the setup look fantastic to make it not a sandbox. So sandboxes are actually more work than what most GMs are willing to put into it. If you look at a sandbox, most GMs are like, it's too much work. It is too much work. But you're committing yourself to that kind of work. So much like how a bad GM who doesn't read his goddamn module will not run a good module, a GM who wants to run sandbox and doesn't put the goddamn work in is going to have a shitty game. So no matter what, I think what it all comes down to is no matter what style of GM you are, if you don't put the work into it, if you don't read your books, if you don't study, if you don't have material, if your library of knowledge is not big enough, the game is always going to suck. Your players are going to suffer for the fact that you are at your core a lazy piece of shit as a GM if you won't put the work in. If you won't do research, if you won't read, if you won't make your sandbox work, if you won't know what your module does, you are a shit GM and your players are suffering for it. And they're going to have a bad experience. They're going to learn your bad habits when they go forward into gaming. And yes, modules do give you a direction, and that's fantastic. And the thing is that you can actually hybrid. Modules steal parts of a module, put them in your sandbox. Also steal from other modules and throw them in your module so that in another module, so that way, like, say you're a module GM, say that you were just going to run in Legend of the Five Rings. That's what I know the best is like City of Shadows. That city it's a great campaign pack, but you gotta steal more information and put into it. You gotta know your source material. You gotta know the setting, know the factions, know everything. You gotta put work in. And most GMs are lazy. Not that, or they're overworked. And they should just. And there's nothing against being overworked, but a lot of GMs, and for those of us who are older and we work a lot, yes, go ahead. We're competent. We can read our books. We can know our shit. We go to the table. We're prepared. Good for us. But for those gamers who are in your 20s and 30s and you're just pulling, your part-time fucking job and you don't give a shit and you're just like, here's my module. I'm going to go run whatever land, and I'm just going to go run my boring module. And well, everyone, we're going to start Tomb of Horrors. I have not read anything past room 1. Wow. Okay. So what are we doing? You walk to the front door and everyone dies because I didn't read, and I can't make this adventure worth a shit. You're fucked. Your players are fucked. Everyone is screwed, and let somebody else who's going to put more time, because if a bad GM turns off good players, because I've had players who've gone like, oh, I played Dungeons and Dragons once, but it was like this dorky thing, and it was just run so poorly. It's just I never want to play it again. Well, shit, you've lost a potential player. Now you got to work uphill. You got to undo the fucking that somebody else has done to the game for that person. So you owe it to your players to make the game worth 2 shits. So that way they want to come back, because you get a bad experience, you're going to have players go, I never want to touch that game engine ever again. And now you've lost potential friends because you're lazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you run a game right, your players are not going to just talk to you on the day where you're running. You're going to be getting messages from them. You're going to be like, hey, or you're going to be getting words from, hey, me and so-and-so are going over to eat at this place. Do you want to come? Now, granted, when you go there, you're going to have your shields up because they're going to be like, so we're feeding you, but we want these bonuses for the gameplay. And you might, understand that bribery of a GM is a time-honored tradition. Make sure they wash your car right, okay? That's all I'm going to say. But you, as a GM,
Fuckery.
You're losing on having good friends in your life if you're going to ruin potential friendships by souring them on your inability to just read a fucking 16 or 32-page module. At least read the first 5 rooms. God damn it. Read the first page at least and see if it's something that you're going to be able to bend into your campaign. Since your campaign is so fucking important, you can't run a fucking Greyhawk session right. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. My bad.
It's okay.
I'm just irritated at people that don't read, and it's just that they buy modules and they think, hey, I'm going to run this. And I used to do this all the time where I would buy a module and I'd immediately shuffle home and try to, hey, when are we playing next? What are we doing? And then I'd try to run it and I screwed up. But thankfully, my players forgave me and they allowed me to grow as a GM. I'm not a great GM now, but I try.
He never forgave you.
Yeah.
And yes, bad players can ruin a good GM. They can. This is a two-way street. Yeah. It's always a two-way street.
But because I know people who refuse the GM now because they had a couple of bad people in their games and they were just like, I'm not going to subject myself to that anymore. Nope.
And that's the bad thing, because they've lost out on an opportunity where they could really have had fun if they would have had a good group, a good table of people.
Yeah.
And Carol's like, well, maybe the non-readers don't understand what they're reading. Well, don't let them run a table, first off. You can let it be dumbed down a little bit, or pull that player aside, give them the Cliff Notes version, and then return them to the table. Bob knows what he's going to do now, and let him go at it. But I seriously think that as tables, if you are part of a table and you've got a GM that isn't giving you their A game, ask them, what do we need to do in order to have a better time at the table? And if you're a GM that's having trouble with your players, there's no harm in asking them, listen, I think I'm going in a direction that you guys don't want to go. What can we agree on? What do we want to do together?
In fact,
go with that.
I think that's the exact conversation that you started with when we, Second Darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, because when we were playing that, they made it through all 5 books pretty much without a hitch. But then book 6 was this giant kind of sandbox, and I wasn't prepared for it.
It was not a sandbox. It was a choo-choo train.
Yeah, it was a
You literally went from one room to the next room,
yes.
and it was the exact same thing you did in the room previous.
Yeah. And
Monsters, everything.
yeah, and I was like, this is really weird. And the players weren't liking it.
It was
I had
literally
to
rinse
stop
and
the
repeat,
game.
rinse and repeat. It was just
And-
like, what are we doing?
Yeah, Capron and you both were like, the fuck are we playing this for? And there were so many people that we talked to after that they have all their own horror stories with Second Darkness. And
Mhm.
it is a horrible Pathfinder adventure path.
No, well, hold on. It is fine until you get to that part.
Yeah. But
So it's not a horrible adventure path. The ending is a horrible ending to the adventure path.
yeah, the ending to it is just an absolute shit show. Anyway, I think we've gone pretty far on this, and we're coming up on. Yeah, remember, Garrett? Were you with me whenever we went and saw Your Highness for experience points?
No.
I'm sorry.
No, I was the one that brought the Star Wars Christmas,
The holiday special,
the holiday
And
special
and I gave
that we
you and
watched for DXP.
I gave you and her the experience points for bringing that, and we watched it in abject horror together.
Yes,
And if
we
you haven't
did.
seen the holiday special, the Rift Tracks version is the
It's
one
good.
you want to watch.
And for the Go See Movie for XP, I have done that one. When I used to run out 5R a lot, I used to give out XP if somebody would actually go and watch the entire Shogun miniseries and then explain to me, I give a small test on it and then go, oh, you actually pay attention to it. Here you go. Here's your XP. I also gave it out for like Ron and Rashomon's. Like, if you've seen the Kurosawa movies, I'd be like, here you go. Here's some points. You now know better how to play the characters that you're going to be playing in this campaign setting. Good for you. Here's your points. But then again, but if someone can go, give me good music, good setting, get good material to work with for whatever engine or setting I'm working with, reward players for being smarter, putting some homework in, being creative.
Well, best movie ever. I don't know if we watched it with you or not, Bruce. I think it was well after you. Wolf Cop.
What?
Wolf Cop.
Oh no, I want to see this now.
It is amazing. The guy's name is Lou LaGrue.
Lula Brew.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has one of the best changing into a werewolf I have ever seen. And there is a second one. It is a bad B. It's a bad B movie. Amazing changing transition scene.
Yeah, I missed the game room too, Andy. That was a really good hub.
Oh. Yeah, I wore this just for tonight.
Okay, cool.
That is awesome. Carol says we need to watch Love and Saucers, not related to anything you're talking about, but you should watch it regardless. It's on Tubi.
I've marked it down. I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
I know the guy who owns Tubi. It's okay.
I want to say the best bad movie I've seen lately is FDR American Badass.
Oh no,
that's older.
It's an older film, but at the start of it, FDR and his guys are all talking and chewing the fat, and all of a sudden they get attacked by a werewolf in a Nazi uniform. No, not Nazi uniform. He's got a tattoo. They find out later he's got a tattoo, but the wolf gives him polio and makes his legs into little baby legs. And Eleanor has a fit when she sees his baby legs, can't sleep with him anymore. So anyway, they outfit FDR with a really badass wheelchair, which, as a person who hates the wheelchair gaming D&D, FDR's wheelchair is pretty badass. It's got like 9 yards of 223 or some small caliber ammunition, but he's got a wheelchair that fires bullets. And they fill him up with silver bullets so he can kill Nazi werewolves. and it's one of the worst, best movies you'll ever see. No, it's not like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. It is exactly like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. It is a bad movie and a guilty pleasure to watch.
You know what, though? The movie I was not that impressed with. The book I loved.
Oh.
Like, legit, the book, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, I loved.
It's great
Well,
because it's got all the dates and times of what he's doing and where he's going that's historically accurate. Like, he's going to these places and doing stuff.
And the other thing is the other one I mean, it was decent with what they could get rights for. I knew they weren't going to get rights for everything, but Ready Player One, the only thing that I wish they would have had is actual Rush music in it.
Yeah.
Because that book is so heavily entrenched in Rush.
Yeah.
I mean, they had one poster, the entire thing, and I'm sitting there going, really? Yeah, you don't think Rush would have said, yes, use our stuff?
I'm just being reminded now that I have not watched enough bad movies in a while. So, yeah.
I really like bad movies. Bad movie night is turning into a thing with me because YouTube is filled with them. And I use Bing to find them all.
Bruce will talk.
Lambert.
Bruce will talk.
What?
We'll talk.
Okay.
I want to watch bad movies.
Okay. So, Garrett, do you have any parting words to say about how to change a module to where it'll fit your table?
Do better, suck less.
Yes.
Explain.
I'm just going to ape that answer.
I'm just gonna say, like, if you're having trouble with your game and you've done your research, you've read your module, you realize that you might have some trouble with certain parts of it, maybe the module has something in it that wouldn't be good for today's sensitive people. Maybe you're running for a group of people that are really into social justice and they're not feeling against the slavers. This is where you as a DM need to learn how to run your table and how to keep your table, how to keep them invested in the game. Maybe you don't run that module. Maybe you don't try to railroad them through things.
Or even if you're running them through that module and you're finding that you're having issues with it, switch it up.
Exactly. The multi-gun man, good to see you in here. We were getting ready to wrap up the stream for the night. We did a 2 hours of discussing what players and what a DM wants and how we alter things on a published adventure module, which if you get into the game, you're probably going to have a lot of DMs you bump into where they say, I run these modules or I run these parts of modules. And it's just mainly a good way for us to tell the people out there who actually value our opinion, when you sit down at a table, gauge your players, try to read them, and get an idea if what you're doing is right for the table.
I need a shirt or a mug that just says "Read the fucking book." That's why I just need that.
We can do that.
We can do that.
So then I can just pick up the mug and just go, "Read the fucking book."
Yeah. I think we had a really good stream. I really appreciate everybody who came in our chat today. Gorilla Red, Hungry Wolf, Hungry Ewok, Connell Wolf, Multi Gunman, Carol's Cookies, Cam, everybody. And for those of you that are going to watch this on the replay all the way through to the end, thank you so much. Really want to appreciate you guys, because without you, our channel is not going to grow. Our efforts aren't going to go the direction we want them to. And if you have anything you'd like to add, go ahead and add it in the comment section below. Appreciate your time.
And I want to go ahead and thank American Hillbilly for the resub. Also, NZTNT for the raid earlier. I definitely appreciate that, guys. On my side.
Blaine?
Without the comment section, I would have... they derail me in wonderful ways, and I enjoy it immensely.
You know, I'm going to have Shadzar watch this stream. That way he feeds you with another idea of how we can occupy 2 hours of video. But
Please do.
Where's Shad been? I have not seen him in a week or so.
Maybe we angered him too much and he has gone off somewhere else.
No. You guys misinterpret him. He has actually been studying his new arrival of the Hero Quest box sets. The Kickstarter just landed. And if you haven't been keeping up with it, the miniatures look delicious. They are wonderfully carved. They've got great detail. And I wish people that have just bought their Hero Quest adventure game, I want them to have fun. And for you guys in chat, for those of you that are here, we appreciate you. We want you guys to have fun too. If you don't have a hobby, get a hobby, okay? Because if not, you're gonna find yourself bored and irritated because you're not doing anything for fun for yourself. So learn how to have fun.
Very much so.
Puppy cam.
Aw, puppies.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Squirmy.
We're gonna
Squirmy puppy. Oh my God.
on a happy note.
Hi.
Oh God, he's
Thank you.